Happy Friday, you savages. It's Greg Medford from Medford Knife MKT USA and ASK Knives out here in Phoenix, Arizona. Live with you here on YouTube. You can tell by the title that I'm going to say some stuff that people aren't going to like. Everything's connected. Hey, George. Everything is connected. It all matters. All these things that I talk about, you guys think I'm being alarmist. You think I'm being xenophobic. You think I'm being misogynistic. It all matters, and it all adds up. And the universe is in stasis, and small pressures shifted over time in big ways. I'm going to talk about what's happened in the American knife scene a little bit. My little take that I've seen, I've been watching happen. When I was a kid, SOG knives, it was really the knife to have. It was made up in Washington. They were a kind of modern take on classic designs. I carried one when I was in the Middle East. And years later, some principals from the company came to me and they wanted to do a project with me. And it was, they were trying to like re-onshore their production. Because over the years they sold, and then they still had the principal involved in the company, and there were some suits running the company and production people running the company. And they wanted to up their game. And I looked at their product line like somebody who was going to buy the company. And then I looked at it like I was an heir to the company. And I designed a new lock mechanism, and I designed several new knives for them. And it was the beginning of what was going to be the re-onshoring of their manufacturing. And what happened was, as these companies have offshored, they go to a high volume, high margin style of business that is, it's the best of both worlds. Classically in economics, you've either had the high margin, low volume, or high volume, low margin. And there was an old saying, and the saying used to go something to the effect of, cater to the classes, eat with the masses. Cater to the masses and eat with the classes. Something like that, I'm paraphrasing. And the point of it was better in many ways to do high volume with low profit margin and do big business, and because there's a lot more people that are not wealthy than there are people that are wealthy. Okay. What's happened though is that the modern there's this pressure from the modern MBA, the modern high-power business school. There's a pressure for this new paradigm, which is high profitability, high margin. People say, oh, Greg, what do you mean by that? It's pretty typical in manufacturing. If you take 3 times your material cost and labor, that ends up being kind of your retail price, give or take a little bit. And that leaves room for you to actually make a profit. It leaves room for you to actually rent a building. It leaves room for you to buy insurance. It leaves room for your distributor to make some money, your reseller to make some money. And that's what makes the world go round. It allows you to reach people. Then you've got this new pressure, this disruptor technology of small makers and cottage makers working in a very limited capacity, able to penetrate out into the market across social media and the internet. So it's allowed people to break the old paradigm. It's allowed you with very little capital and very little work to build a downline or a distribution channel to get into the making business. Totally cool. At the big business level, and I wouldn't say I'm at the big business level, I'm at the emerging business level probably. At that level, there has been this shift to away from knife maker guys like me, who were knife makers who started a company and had some business acumen and grew a company. There's a shift going on that's been going on with the American industry where, and this has happened in a great many industries. This happened in the lawn and garden equipment manufacturing business. That happened. This happened in the. It's happened in the pharmaceutical business. It's happened in the tractor business. It's happened in the sporting goods business. It's happened everywhere. So what happens is, you've got an owner of a company like me, and they mature and they get to the end of their work cycle, and they don't pass the business on to their kids, and it doesn't become a legacy company. Then they start looking for the buyout, sellout. It's their exit strategy, right? And everyone's got to have some way to retire. Fair enough. But what's happened is, there's been this new paradigm of high profitability and high volume. And the only way this happens is with near slave labor and governments underwriting costs and compressing costs. Now, we've seen this as these industries, every industry that you could put your finger into, point your finger at, every single one of them that's been taken over by the Chinese. So walk through a Costco, walk through a Walmart, and just about everything you see is an industry that's been routed by the Chinese. They have a really specific way they do this. First, they generate partnerships in American manufacturing to honestly make products for American manufacturers looking to expand their business. Now, here's my take on this. If you have to expand your business by doing business with the Chinese and outsourcing, then really you don't deserve to expand your business. Let me say this again. If you have to outsource the expansion of your business to people who can work and hire employees and scale up and make it, you don't deserve it. The market has judged you. The market has said you don't have the management, you don't have the foresight, you don't have the ability to recruit or retain or manage your cash flow or plan your business. Here's how big your business gets. And if you grow by outsourcing, you're cheating. Now, is it legal? Yes. Is it a modern way to do things? Yes. But what happens? Here's what happens. The Chinese step in and they come to be your partner. And they're your partner. And then you fly over and you want to make sure your products are good because they don't know how to make them and you don't want your product being labeled as Chinese junk. So what you do is you... Come here, girl. Come here. Come here. Now, hold on, guys. I got to do a little bit of puppy management in the house because my puppy's just started pacing, which means she's going to drive me crazy. So what it means is you have to go over and you show them your secret sauce. You show them how to do this. You show them how to make your knives. You show them how to make baseball bats. You show them how to make baseball gloves. You show them how to make baseballs. You show them how to make footballs. You show them how to make your pharmaceuticals. You show them how to do your bio research. And then what you've done is you've given up hundreds of years of tribal knowledge that was American, hard-earned over generations. And then they, with their government and the way they undercut the global economy and manipulate their currency market, they now make a product all in and done, typically with subpar materials, but these days getting better and better and with American materials a lot of times, or at least it says it on the knife. They will make the product for less than it costs, the entire product done and delivered here for less than it costs to ship one knife to them. For less than it costs to ship an American-made knife to Europe or to Asia, they will make 3,000 knives for you. They will make the knives for you, and it'll cost less per unit than the shipping. How is that possible? Now, the answer to how that's possible is a big Machiavellian economics lecture, which I'm not going to get into. But this is their modus operandi. This is how they function. They find companies and industries that reach out to them for growth who are incapable of growth. Microtech outsourced the product. They sold them all. A great way to expand. My conversation is, hey man, just hire more people. We can't find any more people. We get in a building. I'm like, just don't do it. If you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. It's cheating. So SOG Knives, Great American Knife Company, is now owned by the Chinese. I don't know if you guys know this. Cold Steel. Cold Steel was run by a charismatic guy named Lim Thompson. He started the company years ago. Back before I was a knife guy, I bought Cold Steel knives and supported him. And then it is now owned by the Chinese. They're buying up the American knife companies because they've bought up, they have showed up, and the American companies have sold out their growth and their production. If you're an American and you're buying Chinese-made knives, you are colluding with the enemy. I don't know how else to say this, guys. People say, oh, but the We Knives people, they're real nice. I really like their knives. I'm not a racist. I'm not saying Chinese people can't make good knives, especially after everybody's been over and taught them how to make them. 15 years ago, the Chinese made shit knives that went in a Circle K or a convenience store. Shit knives. They're making good knives now, right? Guys, this happens everywhere, in every industry. They're known for making shitty products. They know they make shitty products. They partner up with an American company that makes great products to help them expand their line. And then they fly over there and they teach them how to do it really well. And they just cut to the front of the line. They just cut to the front of the line. People say, oh, well, they earned that right. They haven't earned that right. Well, they're just competing in the free market. No, they're not. They're manipulating the free market. The Chinese Communist government is doing it. And guess what? When you buy Chinese knives, the money is going to the government. And guess what they're doing? They're sending missiles to Russia to invade Ukraine. They're building ships to sail across the Atlantic and the Pacific. What for? To point missiles at America. My friend, I meet these guys in the knife business whom I love. And they've rationalized being in bed with the enemy. I sat with a world famous knife maker last week who basically said he taught him how to make great knives. He's apologetic and he keeps doing it. And he's one of the guys, and it's going to destroy the industry. Guys, they own SOG. They own Cold Steel. Who is next? Who's next? Listen, if you can't run your crew and you can't run your company and you're a bit of a ding-dong and you can't grow your business beyond your current station and you've got to outsource it, you are in bed with the enemy. If you're a customer, some kid out says, well, I can't afford a Medford knife. They're so fucking expensive. I got to buy a Chinese-made knife. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Who's next? I'm cautioning you guys. I have wonderful partners in this business like Blade HQ and Smoky Mountain Knife Works and other companies. And they do a gargantuan piece of their business with Chinese-made knives. And it's the easy money, and it's the now money, and it's the cheap money. And it's black tar fucking heroin. A typical knife that sells for $125 is being bought for $5 out of China. I don't know if you guys know that. especially when you get into the big numbers and the big names and the big companies. $7, $11, $12, $13, $6. I know because several great American knife brands that don't make their knives in America anymore came to me and wanted me to make knives for them for their reemergent high-end American-made brand, and they told me what their deal was in China. They pointed out models they make and told me what they pay for them. I was gape-mouthed, agog. They're buying knives for less than my pivot screws cost. If you are in the knife world, who's that guy with the goofy voice that does the reviews? I forget. If you do reviews of Chinese knives and you treat them on par with American-made knives, you're endorsing slavery. I have these wokety-woke knife people who wokety-woke on me that I'm an asshole. Yeah, Shabazz. He loves Chinese knives. He loves Chinese knives. And you see people stroking the Chinese manufacturing sector for their knives. They learned how to make knives from us. The truth is, knives are a laborious product because they have hand fitment and fitment field judgment to the end product, which is the hardest kind of manufacturing to do. It's manufactured for feel. Whew, that's tough. So if you see people out there reviewing Chinese knives and they're putting them on par with American-made knives and they're reviewing American knives, they might as well be reviewing, I want you to imagine reviewing tobacco products made with slave labor in 1840. That's what it is. You kids are out there buying this stuff. You youngsters are out there buying this stuff. You guys scoff at the Americanness and the cost of Americanness. You scoff at this and buy this Chinese-made stuff. You're funding warfare. You're funding their military. Now, this is where it all comes to fruition because so many of you wokety-woke fucking pussies voted for a left-wing, feckless leadership to run this country. And what happens is our enemies rise. So now Russia is risen. It's attacked another country, just like commies do, ineffectually, not well, awfully. And what are they doing? 2-hour phone call this morning to China. To get China. What do you think they want from China? I'll tell you what they want. Beans, bullets, boots. That's what they want. They want the things of warfare. We as a country, it is the most important thing you do. If this is all you do the rest of your life, you'll make a difference. We have to preach the awesomeness of the original American project with our children and everyone's children who will listen. The second thing we have to do is continually search for the best American-made products and buy them irrespective of cost. When these industries go away, they don't come back. Now, everybody's all worked up about Ukraine. We've got isolationist policies in place to put pressure on Russia. China steps in and helps Russia. That's happening quietly, and if it happens in the open, then what's next? What are we gonna do? What happens to our coalition? No, it didn't happen in a year. It didn't happen in a year. Haven to your junk. It's always, like I started out saying, there's a level of stasis, and a little bit of pressure makes big things happen. A little bit of pressure during the Trump presidency increased domestic energy, projected American power and might. It restrained capital for the terrorist petrochemical states. That all happened instantly. And what happened? Our economy jumped to life like never before. So we've got all this wokeism and corporate activism and all of this going on in our country. And while it's all going on, we are all buying, we're treating, look, I'm all for the free market and competition. You know who I want to compete with? Anthony Marfione. I want to compete with Benchmade. I want to compete with Spyderco. I want to compete with American companies. You know who else? Global good neighbors. South Koreans, Taiwanese, Germans, the Japanese, the British, the French, Italians, Spaniards, Czech Republic. I like to compete with open democracies that are good global neighbors, that are not threatening, and they're not undermining global stability. Those are the people I want to work with. I don't hate everybody but America. I love America. I don't hate everybody who's not American. My next level, my next increment of engagement are with good global neighbors. Russia, not a good global neighbor. China, not a good global neighbor. Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, they're not good global neighbors. I don't want to do business with them. Now, some of them are straight up adversaries and some are enemies. China is an enemy. China is an enemy. So while you're buying your Chinese knife that you think is just as good as an American knife, and it could be, while you like what the Chinese are doing, fucking good for you. But just so you know, you are part of blowing up people in Ukraine. You are part of the oppressive regime. You are part of funding the oppressive, totalitarian, communist regime of China. That's what I'm always talking about with you guys. You know, guys get on me because I'm outspoken. I'm polarizing. I've been canceled. I've been throttled. I've left social media. I don't even go to fuckface and Instaballs. I don't even give a shit about them. This medium sucks too. I've gone to Rumble, iTunes, Spotify. The reason why? They're all colluding against us. You know who canceled me the other day? Was Airbnb. They canceled me a day before a vacation I was going to take. MailChimp. You know, they're going after conservatives and they're blocking us out. And while they're blocking us out, they're blocking out the news. And you little lefties who think that I'm a lunatic, like your crazy ex-Marine uncle that shows up to Christmas, you are having an emotional response to how right I am and how thoughtless you are. Your little bunny rabbit heart doesn't like it. But make no mistake about it, your Chinese knives are funding weaponry in the Ukraine against Ukrainians. An invasion of a free country by Russia. Every little bit matters. And then what happens is, what happens to the world coalition against Russia if China goes all in with Russia? Now, we already know behind the scenes they already are. But what if they have the audacity to say, we're a nuclear power too, you can't do anything to us, and you can't undo all of your economic ties with us, so we're going to help out our friends, the Russians. What happens then? America doesn't matter. The dollar doesn't matter. They want to use yuan and ruble to buy oil. They want to break the American currency. Why do that? Because it is the way we employ and project our force and our morality around the world towards freedom, democracy, personal liberty, self-determinism, the ideas that made this place the shining city on the hill for everybody around the globe in every country, the number one place everyone wants to go, every country for the last 50, 100, 200 years. Add up the next 20 countries together, add up the amount of people who want to go to those countries, and it does not add up to the amount of people in every country that want to come to the United States. It is the shining city on the hill. If you're buying Chinese goods, you are tarnishing the shiny city. Now, you're not going to like hearing it. Greg's an asshole. Greg's a racist. Oh, he's polarizing. Oh, he uses bad language. What an angry man. I'm none of those things. But I don't suffer fools kindly. I find I get judged by people who have no problem supporting slavery. I get called a racist by people who support slavery. They watch the NBA. A wokety woke, mostly bunch of black people who have kowtowed to the Chinese who are killing people and have slave labor camps today. Disney, slave labor. Post-production going on in China to keep their costs down so their profits are maximized. Slave labor. If you're supporting Disney, you're supporting a company that has no problem with genocide. They have no problem with slavery. What they're really mad about is virtue signaling and moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta. Do you see how fucking stupid it is? My recommendation to everybody is have fewer things in your life. Have fewer. You know, Nike, every pair of Nikes that I've seen and tried on, unfortunately, it's one of my only shoes I get that don't hurt my knees. But every Nike that I see is made in Vietnam. Everyone always bags on Nike in China. But every pair of Nikes I've picked up in the last 3, 4, 5 years is made in Vietnam. So I don't know. I can't get into every company and everything everywhere, but I can get into not China. I really can. There's certain things they should make where they earned it, and I'm okay with them too. But they shouldn't be making American products with American names and American brands. Most New Balance shoes are not made in the United States, just so you know. Only they're super top tier, super expensive sneakers. I have New Balance as well. Unfortunately, the New Balance ones hurt my knees. I don't know why. Nike, something about the way they plant the foot and the width of the toe compartment seems to work on me. Yeah, the Nike thing is, if you don't have any option, then sometimes you got to do that. I don't hate the rest of the world, all things not America, but every penny that you spend on things where you do have a great American option, why would you? And it matters. So while you guys are listening to people talk about what we should do in China and what we should do with Taiwan and what we should do with Ukraine and what we should do with Russia, you know what we should have done with Ukraine? They've been telling us for 3 months troops were massing on the border. We should have been flying C-17 Globemasters in there loaded with anti-aircraft weaponry, small arms, and small unit material and supplies. We should have been doing that for months. Why don't we? Because we're working on Build Back Dumber. Why don't we? Because we're failing at the border while we make Camel Toe Harris the border czar, who's been there one time maybe. While we're busy fucking around doing nothing and working on the green initiative, war's cranking up over there and we're doing nothing. Let me tell you how you don't win a fight. You do not win a fight letting a guy punch you or your best friend in the face before you get in the fight. When he's getting ready, you get ready. When it looks like he's gonna fight, you knock his fucking teeth out first. And if you're not gonna knock his teeth out, you get your hands up and make sure your face is blocked. What we should be doing right now is blocking China. Every industry, instead of Build Back Better, we should do a program called Build Back in America. BBA. Instead of Build Back Better, Build Back in America. We were going to spend umpteen $1 trillion doing Build Back Worser All we had to do is divert that money towards bringing factories back into the United States in critical and semi-critical and durable hard good industries that have almost wholesale gone to China. Try going by an American-made lawnmower. Try going by an American-made anything. Small motors, mechanisms. It's all being made in China. We need to do some policies that actually save our country and quit doing policies that just spend money. Here's one for you. What if we took some of the money from Build Back Stupider and we made a fund of, it would call it a veterans fund. And our goal would be 3 veterans in every school who, on top of their teacher salary in that district, they get a veteran experience stipend added to their salary. So that we get American loving patriots back teaching history in every school in America. We would call it the Teach America Well Again. Teach America, how about make Americans American again? Make Americans American again. We could have a catchy little program. It wouldn't cost that much money. We were going to spend it on dumb shit and critical race theory anyways. Let's turn it into something that makes citizens who love our country and understand the amazingness of Thomas Jefferson, understand the first slaves liberated in the New World were done by Americans in North Africa. Tell that story. Our story is amazing. And you'll have less people become stupid and vote for idiotic Democrat Green New Deal, destroy America, I hate white people ideas. Second thing, instead of Build Back Stupider, build back in America. Build back American. I could come up with some cool names. Bama, build American made back. I don't know, Bam, Bam, Bam. I could come up with a bunch of cool, give me 15 minutes, I'd come up with fucking catchy names. Our politicians are dirty slut whores who pull their pants down for a royal Chinese fucking. And the Chinese don't even have to do anything but bribe them because they're money-grubbing commoner whores. That's who's in Washington. Money-grubbing sons of bitches, every fucking one of them. So go ahead, buy your Chinese knife. Buy your Chinese whatever. Buy your Chinese-made sporting goods. Your Chinese-made shit. And have your life surrounded by Chinese-made shit. And when your government needs to lean against the country for being the wrong side of history, and can't because we can't get a ball bearing made anymore. Can't because we can't get antibiotics made anymore unless we get them from fucking China. The revolution is every day. It's not a gunfight in Atlanta. The revolution's every day. I don't have money for this. Bullshit. The way I see people spend money, they got the fucking money. People have the money to buy American. Or you shouldn't fucking buy it. I see my competitors going and having stuff made in China. It fucking incenses me. If you can't do it here, you don't deserve to do it. If you're a little knife maker and you can't fucking pull it off here when I have volunteered to offer my services to you, if you can't do it, you don't deserve the right to get it made in fucking China. How fucking dare you? Fucking dare you, it pisses me off. Because guys, it's everything. I gotta kvetch it out every now and then. Come see me at Rumble. Go to the Greg Medford Show at iTunes and at Spotify. Spread the word because I've left social media. Spread the word. Enough. Enough excuses, enough pandering, enough. Greg Medford from Medford Knife and MKT USA and ASK Knives, making it all in the United States now and forever. I will never sell to the Chinese. They can fuck off till the end of the universe. I'm out.